And sure enough, we can now see all of the red files conformed in the timeline. And again, you'd go back and check this against the offline, make sure that your conform is exactly as you want it. And then we go back, I'm going to assume now that this is correct. Then we go back to the library, recurse the main folder, and now you can see why I'm sorting my library based on width. Select the 1K file at the top, come all the way down to the bottom, and you can see that the 3 high-speed shots down here are neatly sorted at the bottom with the different file size. So I'll simply select the 1K files, go to Properties, switch that to half medium again, and switch this to red log again, and go ahead and say OK. So half medium, half of the 4K shoot is going to give me 2K files. If I now go back to the bottom of those libraries, select the 3 shots that came in at 512 instead of 1024. For these ones, if I want them at 2K, simply set the system to decode at full premium, and then we're getting the full 2K file so that we have matching sizes throughout the process. Again, choose red log, click on OK, and that will go ahead and debayer. Now there's a couple of things that we might do while it's doing that. The first thing is that, of course, once I get that material in, it doesn't necessarily, or it definitely won't match the offline material, because we're now in log space and the offline material was Rec 709. So there's a number of ways of dealing with that. Of course, we can just go straight in. We can go straight in and grade it. But a neat little trick here is to go back to my grading page, go to the notes, and I've created a little log to lin using the Nucoder log to lin. I've created a note for myself which will match. I'm just going to append this onto the timeline. So if I append this note onto the into my grading, it's now going to match the Rec 709 output of the R3D files. The advantage I have is that at the base level, I'm grading before that conversion, so I'm still looking at log space, but I can also now go after the log conversion and grade in linear space. So I have the benefit, the best of both worlds, which is a nice feature. Another thing that I might do with red files is I might look at the raw data, so let's just base memory that again, and check it on my histogram over here. And you can see this shot here is quite high up the scale. It's not between the 2 dotted lines that I'd normally try to place my material on. And one of the beauties of having native support for the R3D files, I can select that shot, go to my library and say find the current clip, brings it out for me there, go into Properties, and now I can edit just for this one clip. I can edit, for example, the ASA rating. We'll bring it down to, say, 100 in this case. Click on OK. Watch it slide down the histogram and give me guaranteed coverage of the highlight areas in this particular picture. OK, so now we're ready to start grading. But before we do that, let's have a quick look at some other red material to give you an idea of the latitude that this camera has. So I'm just going to close this project down, and we'll have a look at some more challenging red material, let's say. This is material that was being shot as a test, really, and I'm going to open the project up, and it's 2 or 3 shots of a street scene at night by available light. There's the project, and as you can see on the main monitor there, it's pretty damn black. That is the red file set to linear. It's a little bit of information just there in this shot where they opened the lenses right up. So this is shooting at night with no lights whatsoever, just what's on the street. And as you can see, the human eye and the camera see precious little of this scene. So by now we know that we're going to go back to the library, recurse the folders here, and look for the various shots in the library here. And we go to Properties, and this is a really good example of why colorists pretty much insist on working with log files. So I'm going to take it all the way down past Rec 709 to red log and go ahead and import it with all of the settings. You'll see the ASA rating is between 400 and 800, this particular shot 640, and I'll click on OK, and you can see immediately that we have at least something to work with. So this is available light. You saw how dark it was on the actual event. The next scene's a little bit brighter, but you can see it. And of course there's a little bit of noise there, and this is because the red camera natively is shooting is very, very sensitive, I think around 2000 ASA, and part of the debayering process, part of the process of bringing the files into the film master is to bring those levels down, but it's digital processing rather than the sensor. So we have information to work from there. So I'm going to just start grading this. Because it is so dark, I'm not going to use the log to lin. I'm just going to start off by bringing the density down with my printer lights. A little bit of contrast there. We'll take a little bit of the warmth out. We want to keep that nice sort of tungsten look, like so, and bring the gain up a little bit. And as I bring the gain up, I might use a little bit of S gamma in the clip group. We'll add a little bit of contrast there as well, because of course I want it to look like night, and we'll just take a little bit of the warmth out there. And there's two things I'm noticing right now on this image. So we're playing that back in real time. There's a little bit of noise on the pavement, and the shoulder of his shirt is also starting to clip. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new layer and bring down the shoulder, ignoring the rest of the image, bring down the shoulder to where I want it, and then I'm just going to go to the keyer, use the luminance key, and run a black clip on there so that we're only interested in restoring the shoulder. Can you see the shoulder just coming back there? Of course it looks slightly solarized when I do that, but if I add softness into my key, I can blend that back in, and I've now created a layer just to bring back that highlight information, keep it looking nice and dark. The second thing I want to do is deal with the noise on the pavement. Two ways that I could possibly deal with that. The first way would be to use the regrain tool, so I could add some film type grain over the top of the image, and that will hide the video noise and look a lot more pleasant. So let's have a quick look at that. DVO enhance, regrain, add that to the user effects, like so. And I'll just open it up here so you can see the parameters that I have to work with. And it's coming a little bit heavy for me, so I'm going to just bring the overall size, the overall levels down to about 50. I'm going to drop the saturation to 0 in this case because I want to keep it nice and dark. And if I hit play right now, you can see we've added a little bit of extra grain. And the dithering does two things. It makes the image look a little bit sharper, and it masks the video noise. The other way of working with it would be to, instead of trying to add grain, we can remove the noise. So if I just go to the DVO grain tool, click again, put it into user effects, and the noise level on the red camera is very, very low, so I'm actually just going to take it to the minimum default setting, and that should look fine, I think. Let's just go back and have a quick play with that. Okay, so you see that just by the default setting, it's taken all the noise out of the pavement here and given us a nice clean looking image. If I feel it's a little bit too strong, I can either go into the various processing levels and bring the strength down and set up. What I like to do though is just mix back some of the original material, and in this case I'll bring it back to about 60–70%. Let's do 70%. That will give us a little bit of sharpness on there. And hit play. And that's the render speed that you're watching right now. We'd move on to the next shot and carry on. So while we're on the topic of DVO tools, let's do a more thorough look at the various packages that the system has.